It's interesting in American English because even though people come from many different countries, what we can find is that there's some really common mistakes that keep occurring no matter what people's first languages are. And so today I want to show you an example of a type of sentence that I practice a lot with students. And this is a pattern that we commonly see where students are mispronouncing it. And I want to make sure that you are not falling into the same mistake. Good morning, guys. Good evening. Good afternoon. Welcome to your daily American English pronunciation show, which is Wake Up American. We are typically here between the hours of 7 to 8 a.m. in New York to make sure that you can get in your 5 to 10 minutes of pronunciation practice for today because that's what it takes. If you are serious about pronunciation, showing up for yourself, you gotta show up for yourself if you're trying to get the growth you're seeking for in American English pronunciation. And to guide you in this process, there is me. Hello, my name is Geoff. It rhymes with breath. That's one of the 4 keys to a natural sound in American English, including placement, pitch, breath, trying to weaken your consonant sounds in order to strengthen your vowel sounds. Gotcham's hanging out with us. Again, great to see you. Let's pull up a text that's going to kind of demonstrate what we're going to be discussing. Okay. I want to just particularly pay attention to this beginning part. So we just part with as time, and then we get to down to stress this out. So just kind of take a moment if you're able to see this and kind of just ask yourself, how would you say that first line going from as time down to stress this out? How would you say that part? What I often see with students is I see them saying this section kind of like this. As time goes on, those things that stress us out. So altogether, it sounds like as time goes on, those things that stress us out, something like that. The problem with that is we end up with kind of what I call bobbing, where we just kind of just keep bouncing between like this like 2-pitch cycle. As time goes on, those things stress us out. As time goes on, those things stress us out. Or sometimes students may even say those things that stress us out. As time goes on, those things that stress us out. And the problem with that is that's just not a cadence that you actually find very often in American English. And the reason for that is because it's missing a couple things. One of the things we talk a lot about on the channel is American English is really looking for elements of contrast. When we say contrast, what do we mean? Contrast is the idea that there's like a clear distinction between two things. For instance, in text, if you think about a book, if you think about how you even reading this text right here, you see it's white and black. White and black are really high contrast colors. They stand out against each other, so it's very legible. Okay. In American English, we can show contrast in lots of different ways. One of the primary ways that we do that is through the use of pitch. We also can add pauses. We can change speed. There's other tools as well. But these are some things that I want us to consider for this section of text right here. So what are some things that we can do to play with this? Well, the first thing that we can do is let's maybe just decide what our thought groups are. Our thought groups are going to be the places, groups of words that go together before our next group of words. And there's a lot of flexibility to this. So I'm going to mark some things off, but you could do it other ways as well. This is not the only possibility. So I might put a thought group that ends on. And so we just end up with 2 thought groups. Okay, so we have 2 thought groups. We have as time goes on, and then we have those things that stress us out. The next thing we can do, every single thought group is going to have a primary stressed word. So in our first thought group, let's maybe stress time. If I stress the word time, what does that mean? That means my pitch will go up. So like as time, and because time is my stress word and nothing else is stressed, everything else needs to move down in pitch. It's like as time, then we're going to drop, goes, and then we're going to drop more on. I can't go up in pitch because if I go up in pitch again, my listener's going to hear some stress and that can disrupt my rhythm. That gets into the problem from the beginning. As time goes on, like are we stressing time? Are we stressing on? It gets a little bit clunky for your reader. It's like as time goes on. So it's going to do a pattern like time goes on. As time goes on. And then we have our second thought group. And when I was working with a student on this earlier, we stressed the word things. So that means things is going to go up in pitch and everything else needs to move down around it. stress us out. Things that stress us out. Notice that we're not saying things that stress us out or things that stress us out. We're saying things that stress us out because we're putting things as our stress. Okay. So with just these two stressed words indicated for us, let's kind of just show the change that this has in terms of the rhythm. So our original way of reading the sentence was like this. As time goes on, those things that stress us out. As time goes on, those things that stress us out. That's how we said it originally, and it kind of kept bobbing. So let's try it now. As time goes on, those things that stress us out. As time goes on, those things that stress us out. As time goes on, those things that stress us out. As time goes on, those things that stress us out. Do you hear the difference between those? So if we're doing that first rhythm, it's just going to cause us to kind of constantly get stuck. You'll notice that the pitch range is more limited. Things are sounding a little bit more similar to each other because there's not a lot of pitch contrast. Whereas when we have our stressed word and then we move down, that makes our sentence sound a lot more dynamic for our listener. It moves around a bit more. Okay. It's just kind of something to pay attention to in your own sentences, guys. If you have other questions for me about stress patterns, sentences, pitch patterns, elements of contrast, these are things we stress on the channel, but I'm happy to look at ones that interest you more if you feel free to write them in the chat or in the comments. Beyond that, I am going to head out, but hey, thanks for hanging out with me this morning. Look, there's a million pronunciation resources out there, so the fact you spent some time here with me on the channel is greatly appreciated. Once more, my name is Geoff, rhymes with breath. It's one of the 4 keys of natural sound, including placement, pitch, breath. Trying to weaken your consonants, strengthen your vowels. I will see you all later. Hope you have a good day, have a good night, and a good afternoon.